We're good, Doug.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Doug Deptouch. I am the chair of the Board of Adjustment for the City of Helotes, and it is now 7 o'clock, and I will call the meeting to order. Okay. The first thing that I would like to do is go around and just make sure that we have a quorum. I believe we've done that already, but for the sake of being thorough, given the absence of visibility, I will say in chair number 1, we have Donnie. Are you present, Donnie?
Here.
Okay, chair number 2, we have Bob Loeb. Are you present, Bob?
Present.
Okay, chair number 3, Doug, I am present. Chair number 4, Charles.
Yeah, Charles Roberts is present.
Present. And chair number 5 is Blair. Are you present, Blair?
He's not going to make the meeting tonight.
So he's not going to make it period at all. Okay. All right, so we have 4 out of potential 5, which means that in order to get a variance, there needs to be 4 affirmative votes for the variance to take effect. And since Blair is not here and the applicant has already acknowledged that he understands that he needs a full 4 out of 4, we are going to proceed with the meeting accordingly. With that in mind, might I ask everybody to stand up with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, as we start this evening, we are here to discuss, and if you'll let me just pop on my computer here, a request for a variance. Before we go into discussing the request for the variance, I would like to open up the room for a public hearing on the matter. Are there has anybody expressed an interest in discussing this matter publicly at this meeting?
We received no comments for the public hearing.
Okay, so city has not received any comments for the public hearing. Has the city received any response to the letters that it sends out asking people's permission or agreement, disagreement, whatever?
No responses were received from the mail out.
No responses whatsoever have been received from the mail out. Okay, very good. As we go along at that point then, let us go to the public hearing. I believe we can close.
Yes.
Yes, let us close the public hearing. I guess, can I get a first to propose to close that?
I'll move that we close the open session for discussion to open the regular meeting.
I second.
Okay, and who was that? Who seconded?
Donnie?
Donnie? Okay, good. If everybody could just mention who you are when you say first or second, that would really be a big help, especially to a half-deaf guy like me, so that would be great.
And
Okay,
I just want to point out, just for the record, that we opened the public hearing at 7:12 p.m. and we're closing it at 7:13 p.m.
Thank you so much, Selena. I really appreciate you keeping us on target as always. Okay, all right, now we have an open session and we are going to be discussing the items for individual consideration. Do I need a motion to open that?
Yeah.
Yes, right?
A first and a second,
Yes,
yes.
okay, you
Discussion
want to
will
give
take
me a
action.
first?
So I'll move to open discussion of item number 1.
All right, item number
4.
4.
Item number 4, thank you. My move is to open item number 4.
Thank you so much.
I'll second.
And who was that?
Chair number 2.
Chair number 2. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that very much. Okay. Item for individual discussion. Discussion of an action on a request by Nucleus Architecture for a variance to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98 zoning, Section 98-68, subparagraph C, area regulation authorizing an encroachment in the required residential buffer zone of 30 feet, where any lot zoned overlay district, open parenthesis, B3-0D, close parenthesis, butts an existing single-family residential district, open parenthesis, R1, close parenthesis, for the purpose of Little Cherub Child Care Center development located at 12840 North FM 1560 in Helotes, Texas 78023, more particularly described as BCAD, property ID number 24208, applicant. Okay, with that in mind, and we're discussing those matters, I would guess do what I would typically do in this particular case, as we discussed, is go from left to right. And with that in mind, I'm going to ask Donnie, chair number 1, to share any thoughts that he has on this particular matter.
Okay, this is Donnie. I guess I have to ask the obvious question. Is there no way the building could be moved forward 4 feet?
We might invite the,
Ward FM 1560?
So, if I may, this is Josue, we'll get there, I'm the architect on the project. So the reason that the current location of the building is where it is there is an existing drainage easement, which the existing car wash is actually encumbering. We cannot encumber that easement, so we cannot push it 4 feet forward to be able to kind of mitigate that 30-foot or maintain that 30-foot buffer. Additionally to that, we have to maintain the minimum standards of the Texas regulated minimum square footage per child so that they can keep the counts that are necessary. So we looked at possibly reducing the square footages of the classrooms on the south end. However, doing so would significantly impact the amount of children that they can have in there.
Sounds like you did your homework. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Alrighty. Bob, do you have any thoughts, questions, ideas that you'd like to raise?
I think that was a good question that Donnie asked. So I just want to clarify that the letters were sent out to the neighbors that are immediately adjacent to this property, and we either received no responses, or if we did, nobody was against it. Is that correct?
That is correct. Is that correct, Selena?
That is correct, Bob. We received no responses. We sent out the mail out to the 200 feet radius. We also published the public hearing notice in the San Antonio Express newspaper, and nobody contacted the city, whether with negative comments or positive comments.
Okay. And the only other question, just to clarify, the existing buffer fence is going to stay in place, correct?
That is correct. Any kind of area that is not currently in good shape will actually be replaced and repaired, but the buffer and the fence itself would stay.
Okay, great. I don't have any more questions. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Charles, if I I might ask you to share any thoughts or questions that you might have on this matter.
Yeah, I guess that I would just ask for a further clarification from the architect that represents the owner. The building that you designed, I understand your discussion of why you want to keep it the size it is. Let's look behind the building and the design. I just want to verify that behind the building, from the walkway to the back fence, in the area that you guys plan to encroach by 3.5 feet, are there any other structures or any other unattached structures that you guys are intending or putting into the design?
No, sir. No other structures. The only other thing that is encroaching that is not enclosed, but it's just a concrete pad, is the mechanical yard.
Okay, all right. And I guess to the south side of the property is a drainage area, from what I could see from my review of this. So I really don't have any further questions. So your explanation of why you want to move this is that you've got a drainage easement in the front that the current car wash encroaches on, but you're not grandfathered with the new construction. And so you're required to move the building back to stay out of the drainage area, and that's forcing you to encroach on the back easement.
Yes, sir. And we have to maintain the minimum square footages per classroom.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. I think you've answered all of the questions that I have thought about in this regard. The one thing I just would mention is, having reviewed the area as well, is it's quite a mess back there. A lot of broken glass, a lot of broken beer bottles, a lot of stuff that doesn't exactly make me proud to be a Helothian. And I would love to see something done to have that area improved to a point where we could look at it and say, yeah, this is an addition to the community that would make us proud, as opposed to what it is now, which is really, I guess, a site in search of a purpose.
Yes, sir. And one of the things that we were very careful about was making sure that we maintained the character of the building and of Helotes to kind of really represent what Helotes is. So we were pretty intent. The owner was very, very careful about making sure that we fit into our surroundings and our environment.
I guess one further question for the representative is, your statement that the front area is a drainage area and you're trying to build in an area that is behind that. There is no intention to fill the drainage area or to use that front area in the future that you know of?
Currently, we are not looking to do that. We're maintaining the majority of the concrete that's already existing, but we don't know if there's any future plans. At this point, there's no future plans to develop that area because of that easement. So, no, sir. Not to my knowledge.
Thank you. I guess for the record, I would just say that if there is a future plan that becomes apparent, that you would probably have to come back in front of the board and the rest of the city again.
Yes, sir. And we understand.
I'm just going to, for clarity's sake, recapitulate what Charles just said, and that is that any variance that would be given tonight would be given based on the fact that you are in essence handcuffed by the previous commitments you've made to have green area, etc. But if you were to choose to develop that area instead, that would require you to come back to the board and reconsider this matter. Is that kind of what you were saying, Charles?
Yeah, that captures it. Thank you.
Does that make sense to you, sir?
It does. The only question would come into, for the owner's sake and for me to be able to explain that to the owners, is 10 years from now, if once the building is constructed and hopefully in operation for 9 years, if they decide to go ahead and develop the front portion of that and they're able to vacate the easement, are they at that point expected to revisit the existing building that has already been there? Just for my clarification.
I can venture an answer for you. This is Charles Roberts. So the item under consideration tonight, if the board agrees to a variance, that variance will hold for as long as that building is in place. The only stipulation that we're making is that if there are further plans for construction or business growth on that property, that you would come back, or the owner would come back in front of the city and follow the normal city procedures for filing for permits and other applications that would be necessary.
Understood. Yes, sir.
All right.
And that would be acceptable to both you and the owner of the property.
Yes, sir. I would assume that we would have to go through the procedures anyway, so yes, sir, that would be acceptable, and I will make sure to notify him in writing.
Okay. Okay. With that in mind, I guess I will go around one more time and ask, Donnie, do you have any other questions, thoughts, suggestions?
No, I do not. No question.
No? Okay. Bob, do you have any thoughts, questions, whatever that you'd like to continue discussion?
My only thoughts is that when we look at these, we have a starting point that's somewhat of an arbitrary number. And when we get these, we have to look at each case on its own merit and look at the unique issues that can come up with the individual property. And I think we've done that here. So that's the only thing I have to offer.
Okay. Okay. Charles, any other thoughts, questions that you'd like to suggest?
No, nothing further from me. Thank you.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time. Can I get a motion from one of the board members to close discussion and make a motion to either grant or decline the variance?
I'll make a motion to close the discussion. If I can get a second.
I'll second.
Second, Donnie?
Okay, and then I'll forward a
Are
motion.
you, Bob?
Oh, go ahead, Donnie.
Okay. Well, so are we closed, Doug?
I'm sorry?
Doug? So are we closed for discussion?
We are making a motion to close for discussion, and at that point, we will then take a vote on the matter.
So I think we have a second, yes?
Did we have a second? I heard Charles had the first. Who had the second?
Donnie.
Donnie. Okay, Donnie, you had the second on closing discussion on the
I got a
matter?
second.
Okay.
No further discussion.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor of closing discussion?
Anybody opposed? Okay. Can I get a motion as to whether or not we grant a variance for this project?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and grant the variance for this project as stated.
And this is Charles Roberts. I'll second the motion.
Donnie?
I second it. I agree.
Okay, Bob, Charles, and I'm Doug, and I guess that makes me number 4, and I would agree as well. So I think we have unanimous approval for the variance to be passed. Is that correct? Does anybody have any question or misunderstanding about what we've just said? The variance will be given to the company looking to build the daycare center. Everybody understands that?
No questions, and welcome to Helotes.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
All righty. Is there any other business that needs to be taken care of by the board at this time? Given the fact that there is no business to be taken at this time, we will look at the clock and say it is now 7:25, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.